So after 6 weeks straight of people telling me I had to go see La La Land, I went to go see La La Land. So what did I think about it? So if you're like me and you were late to the La La Land party, essentially the plot of the story revolves around two people pursuing their dreams in Los Angeles. Emma Stone wants to be an actress, and Ryan Gosling wants to be a jazz pianist, a purist as well. And so in that, the two of them meet each other along the way, and the story takes place essentially over the course of about a year as they fall in love, as they chase their dreams, as they have the ups and the downs. And this whole story is a drama, it's a comedy, and it is a musical, which is what kind of scared me off from going to go see it. And if you've been paying any attention to the awards season, they have just been throwing awards at this movie left and right. And so I decided I would actually go and see it. By nature, a musical is not one I would rush out to go see. I went to go see it, and it is of course, a good movie. I don't love it as much as everyone else, but I get why people do love this movie. It's a very unique cinematic experience, whether it's this love story that works really well because Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling just have such great chemistry. They're such great actors, and so they can bring emotion to something that just you didn't know would be in a moment, and they just pull it out of the situation. And likewise, it's a musical with a great visionary director behind it, so the scenes are just so energetic and fun to watch and creative. And it's a story that can kind of resonate with most of us in the idea that we have dreams, we have things we want to aspire to, and this story at the core of it has themes about the cost, the sacrifices that it takes to pursue your dreams, and that can resonate with a lot of people. So I've already touched on most of the good things, but I can walk through a few more things. First off, this movie is just gorgeous. I mean, every single shot in it just looks perfectly crafted to be like a still framed release for the image. I mean, that's the type of movie you're watching, and just a color palette that's so vibrant and lively. And then the set design of it is just really unique because the nature of the movie, it's kind of a throwback to much earlier films when musicals came out much more often and weren't just kind of limited to cartoons as they are right now. And so it has this throwback vibe to it, but it's set in the present day. Like when the movie started, I was thinking like, oh, is this a period piece? I didn't realize this was a period piece. And then immediately it's not, but there's a lot of things that are kind of out of place. And like Ryan Gosling's driving an older car and he's still listening to cassette tapes in his car. And it's just these little touches that create such a nice ambiance and vibrant setting for the film. Of course, you have to talk about the performances. I mean, this movie really revolves around just our two leads for the most part. Emma Stone is just kind of, they just set her up to tee off and hit home run moments in the movie. It's that type of movie that sets her up to be charming and fun and funny, but then also just have her heart ripped out, to be falling in love and have someone to bounce back and forth on. And so she's given a whole lot to work with to have a performance that's likely going to win and has already won many awards. Likewise, Ryan Gosling is in a similar situation of someone chasing their dreams and being disappointed and set back and like looking at themselves and frustrated and having to grow. These are all things that are kind of setups for award season and giving a really big, strong performance. And when it's in such a gorgeous movie, everything is kind of heightened because everything in the movie works really well together. Along on the storytelling of it, it's told very creatively, and so there's parts of it where we follow one character and then parts where we follow the other character and they kind of run parallel to each other. There's a lot of really cool stuff like that, and throwbacks, callbacks, and the way the story's told is very intriguing, keeps you engaged. There are parts where it's like, I don't know, I'm not quite sure, and then, oh, I see where you're going with this, how you're doing this, and really pulls you in, keeps you engaged throughout the entire movie. Now let's talk about the bad side. So a lot of people just praising this best movie of the year. I kind of get it. At the same time, I was not on that page at all. First off, I didn't find the musical numbers really memorable at all. There was none of them I left remembering. The only piece of music in it I really remembered was like the main piano line is kind of the sad piece that Ryan Gosling plays throughout the entire film. I remember that, but actual songs with singing, I don't remember any of them. And when you're making a musical and that's one of your key genres and you say best of the year and none of your songs are memorable, that's kind of a big problem for me. But really, my biggest problem with this movie is inherent to the central story of this comes off to me very much like Hollywood patting itself on the back and celebrating themselves for the sacrifices they've made for their art. And that's a little bit off-putting to me when Hollywood makes a movie about Hollywood for Hollywood to be praised and celebrated by Hollywood. There's a side of that that's just very weird to me, and especially when it's getting so many awards and being so praised by people out of LA and in Hollywood, and they're all about this movie about themselves. Just inherent to that. And that's a little bit unfair because you're not really critiquing the movie itself so much as the nature of the movie and the vibe it gives off and things like that. But at the same time, I'm watching it, and that was my experience watching it of like, okay, it's a story about an actress that's trying to make it and how she's failing and how she's not good enough and she's not pretty enough, being played by Emma Stone, who has the looks of Emma Stone, and her character who's acting in it in auditions has the acting ability of Emma Stone, who might win an Oscar for the movie that she's doing this in, where she's going to auditions. And so the idea that this character is like relatable to other people is very disingenuous because she's an Oscar-worthy actress because she's being played by the Oscar-worthy actress, giving the Oscar-worthy actress in these scenes where she's going to win an Oscar or already won a Golden Globe for it. And so then I see that and I just, it doesn't sit right with me when Hollywood is so much just celebrating, patting themselves on the back. Likewise, Ryan Gosling plays a world-class pianist whose biggest problem really is that he's a purist and he doesn't want to take advice from anyone. He doesn't want to like settle for anything. He won't compromise. But he's a world-class pianist that's established in the story immediately as he's incredible. If he was easy to work with, he could have any job that he wanted. He just won't work with anyone because he's so specific in what he wants to do. Well, as a story that's trying to relate to, me, I have dreams. I want to be successful. I'm writing, doing YouTube. I have dreams. This is not necessarily relatable when you're talking about world-class people with, well, he looks an awful lot like Ryan Gosling. She looks an awful lot like Emma Stone. Like, it's unrelatable when they're established so much as people that we know will be wildly successful in these careers that they're pursuing because they are them. Just disingenuous, patting themselves on the back, and it didn't sit right with me. So I say that just to say that it's a wonderfully made story that's told very interesting way. It has great acting. The characters relate well to each other, but the central story to it, while on the one hand feeling very relatable, felt incredibly distant and off-putting at the same time. It was very strange to me because I was like very engaged and kind of like emotionally connected, wanting them to succeed and them to stay together, but understand sacrifice and will they, won't they. I got all of that, and at the same time being like, but this is an odd thing to do, and to cast A-list stars in it as opposed to like people that are up-and-comers, people that are really trying to make it, like very strange decisions. And so that's kind of where I fell on it. That was kind of my take on it. Very well made. Great acting, somewhat off-putting in the story. If I'm going to give a rating to this, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. This is, of course, a very well-made movie. Beautiful, gorgeous. Great storytelling, but telling a story that did not resonate well with me. And as a musical, the music was not all that great to me. And I haven't even heard people talking about how great the music was so much as how great the movie was. If I'm being honest, I wouldn't mind watching this one again, even as a musical, because the story of it was so good. In fact, to some extent, I probably would have liked this movie a lot more if it wasn't a musical. I'll just say that. I would have liked this movie a whole lot more if it wasn't a musical, because the two leads are just very energetic and vibrant in and of themselves, and there's a story to tell there. So I think that's true. Maybe the movie would be totally different without the musical numbers. But anyway, that's just one man's opinion. How about you? What did you think about La La Land? According to the Rotten Tomatoes score and everyone else's reviews on YouTube, you probably loved it. Tell me in the comment section. Try and convince me. Let's talk about this whole Hollywood story. I know that's a thing. I could be a bit of a jerk and contrarian in ways. So let's talk about down below. What did you think about it? I don't want to just talk about La La Land. I want to talk about La La Land with you. If you're new to my channel, you've never clicked that subscribe button, please consider clicking that subscribe button. I have a daily movie news show during the work week, as well as 3-4 movie reviews each week, and a live show on Sundays because I want to interact with you, and there's a chat board and I can answer your questions. It's a whole lot of fun. And as always, thank you for watching.